Hello, and welcome back to Women for Wealth. So today I wanted to play with a calculator. So this is actually on nerdwallet.com, is a compound interest calculator. And the reason why I wanted to show you this today is to show you that you can become wealthy just with time. So initial deposit of only $1,000. $1,000 is initial deposit. That's it. $100 additional each month. That's not a lot of money. But if you do that over 50 years and the stock market average rate of return of 10%, your total balance is going to be almost $2 million. So now let's play around with this a little bit. So let's say your initial deposit, we're going to leave it at $1,000. I think that's reasonable. Let's say you're going to contribute $1,000 a month. Well, over 50 years at the average rate of 10%. So $1,000 initial, $1,000 per month for 50 years at the average rate of return of 10%. You're going to have $17 million. So it doesn't take a lot of money to result in a lot of money at the end. The key, though, is how many years you do it for. Because let's say, you're 20 years from retirement. Boy, that's a big difference. So the same $1,000 initial deposit, $1,000 monthly, but only over 20 years of growth, that's less than $1 million. So you have two choices if you want to have a ton of money and be wealthy in retirement. You can either invest for a very long time, or you're going to have to increase how much you invest. So let's say your initial deposit is $100,000 now, and you're going to do $1,000 every month. In 20 years, you can still have $1.5 million. But that's a much larger initial deposit. So you can either get there through small amount of money invested over a very long period of time, or if you don't have that many years till you want to retire, you're going to have to really increase how much either your initial deposit or your monthly contribution. So just be aware of that. The compound interest can be a very powerful tool, but you really only have two variables: how much you invest and how long you invest it. So I'm even going to drop this down to 15, because let's say I want to retire early, but I need $1 million when I retire. What do I have to do to get there? So there we go. So 100,000 initial and 1,500 every month, 15 years. I can still have over $1 million when I retire. So I recommend, when you get time to go in, this is a free calculator, nerdwallet.com, compound interest calculator. I just Googled it. It came up. And then I've been playing around with this today. And it really gives you hope for the future. If you're like, well, I can get by in retirement on $1 million. When you get to retirement, you hope that you have managed your money well enough that you don't have any payments, that the only expense you're going to have is just your monthly living expenses. Your house is going to be paid off. Your car is going to be paid off. Everything's going to be paid off. You're not going to be using credit card debt, just what you need to live on each month. You got to pay your utilities. You got to buy food, and you got to have money set aside for medical. So, when you get to that point, if you've prepared and you've done what you need to do as far as reducing your debt, getting rid of interest payments, and investing, then you're going to be in a good spot where you can retire early. And really, that's my goal. I want to get to a point where, so I've got everything planned and scheduled to where when I turn 55, my house will be paid off. Everything else will be paid off. I'll just have my monthly living expenses and any medical. So I actually want to retire at 55. That's my goal. That's my plan. And this shows me that I can do it. So, again, take some time, go in here, play around, put numbers in that you feel you can meet, and the number of years till you need to retire, 10% is just a good average return for the stock market over the past 30 years. 10% is as high as I'm going to put in for my calculation. I know some people say 12%. You can even go down as low as 8%. I've seen really, really conservative people put 8% as the average rate of return just because they want to be extra conservative. But yeah, go in here, put your numbers in, play with it, see what you come up with. Because the only way you're going to become wealthy is if you have a plan and you understand your numbers. So until next time, I wish you health and wealth.